Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back, my friends. This is, of course, the MRC show that never ends. We're here tonight, Wednesday evening, for all your sporting entertainment. Never mind what's going on the telly. Never mind that thing of 22 people kicking a leather ball full of air around. None of that matters. We're here. It is MRC time. This is Formula One time. And we're here to bring you the penultimate round of Season 9 for Tier 3. Nonetheless, the championship may be decided for the outright winner, but there are plenty of spots up for grabs. Joining me this evening, before we get into qualifying, is he's the boss man. He's my Tier 2 competitor, but also the boss man, the man we owe so much to, and I absolutely love commentating with him. I was really pleased he's here again. It is the one and only Mr. Hills. Good evening, Martin.
Good evening. Competitor is a very loose term, seeing as one of us is competing and the other is not.
Well,
in fact, one of us has competed his way right to the very top and is now unassailably the champion.
Yes.
It's not me, by the way. Just a clue. That's you.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations and well done. Let me be the 431st person to congratulate you.
Oh yeah, thank you. It was a very difficult race, I would say, on Monday for us. Calvin's... Oh, he's in the chat. Good evening, Calvin. Good evening. Good to have you, my friend. He was insane this season. It took every single... It caused me a lot of stress, put it that way, this season, to battle him constantly, week in, week out, and it was a lot of respect. We've had a lot of respect on track and continuous, of course, and yeah, it was a great battle, and yeah, it's now mathematically over the championship. Thank goodness for me, because I can breathe easy going into the last round of the season. But it was absolutely superb. Really enjoyed it, and I can't believe it, to be honest.
Very, very weird race with that safety car timing. You guys sort of made the right call. Definitely, you kind of went in at the right moment. I saw you go in. I was behind you when you went in, actually.
Yeah. It was difficult. Yeah, the medium tyre runners who started, I think you probably could have taken those mediums to the end. But Calvin and I on the hard tyres, we stayed out, thinking, oh no, I've got loads of time, and we just couldn't bridge the gap and had to really battle our way through. People are fighting for position and points themselves, and it was very, very difficult. And if you start on the mediums, that hit absolutely perfectly, as a few of the drivers, and obviously Rob did 2 stops, didn't he, Mr. Genie? I think he did hard, mediums, I think.
He did,
and
yeah.
That was, wow, to make that work and grab a victory was just incredible, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I gambled on there being another safety car later on and stayed out, and then just realised that wasn't working, and yeah. I could have done the whole race on that set of tyres, to be honest with you. It still felt okay after, I think it was like 22 laps or 23 laps or something. They still felt okay. I was like,
was that their hards, was it?
Yeah, I think I pitted with like 7 laps to go or something.
Wow.
And then the game went, no, you're not allowed to have any softs, even though you had some softs available. They're not available anymore. You're going to have mediums. So I was like, oh, great, this isn't working out at all.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, there we go. So, do we have anything in...
We've got about to bring that up, actually.
Yeah, I'm just doing the same thing.
We actually have, he missed last week, but our Tier 3 champion, who's unfortunately invalidated his first flying lap, is with us this evening. I know he missed last week, but Mr. Toby is with us this evening, Mr. Barnstop. He is, of course, wrapped it up. I think it was last week he actually wrapped that up. We are missing Connor Hardy, who was there in the chat. So good evening, Connor. Good evening, Nono, one of our newest recruits. Looking forward to seeing you on track soon. Thank you for joining us as well. So, as we said, please do get involved with the YouTube chat. We'd love to hear your thoughts, your predictions, and anything you may see and notice that we are oblivious and blind to. So please do get involved. Let's have a look. As you mentioned, the reserves there, Martin. So we have got Doris. Where's he gone? Where's Dora the Explorer? Dory is in third currently. Yes, he is. He's partnering Mr. Night Shadow this evening. He's at the original lap time. He's wearing a fishy helmet as well. So, Dory, you are going to be named from now on.
And he and Dumbest Tornet have to qualify on the medium tyres, and they don't really seem to have held Doris back too much, do they?
No, they don't at all. I mean, I did notice that actually when we kind of were on board with him for his run. And yeah, that's a seriously good lap time on the mediums.
Did you see T1? Did you see T1?
Yes.
Oh my word! Absolutely ridiculous times. I mean, literally, if Corrie hadn't got caught by a little bit of traffic coming around his lap, he would have been in the 14s.
Oh my days! I didn't realise it was that much.
Yeah. I mean, he must have lost a couple of tenths, and he came out with a 15.2, I think it was, or a 15.3, something like that. And I was like, oh my word. Because I expected him to abandon the lap because he'd caught the traffic so badly. I was like, well, that's that ruined then. And no, actually, he ended up on pole by literally a country mile.
I did not know that at all.
Yes.
Of course, you were with our baby Hornet as well, weren't you, on Monday evening?
Yes, the posh spice rack.
I forgot we called him that. I forgot that.
Well, to be fair, I actually called us that, to be honest.
Yeah, I like that. That was great. Yeah, I like that.
So, so interesting field tonight then.
Yeah, so we've got Gibbon in for Melvin, who's just at lap time, put him in 14th. So, I mean, I love seeing Gibbon to reserve. He reserves across all tiers. No assist driver, of course, is in tier 4, but no assist, so yeah, I love seeing him in there. We have got Eddie Dust. Where is the Dust? Oh, he's in provisional pole. There's 17.0. That's a very quick lap time as well. That's a tier 2 lap time.
Very easily a tier 2 lap time, yes.
That's fantastic. What a lap that is. We have got, where is the man? Da Convertible is back with us. He's currently in 5th. Went out for a second run, just leaving the pits. And who else have we got? Who have I missed currently at the moment? We had... I'm definitely missing somebody. Oh, of course, there he is. How could I? He's going to hate me for that. He's going to torture me for that. The other part-time Palmo hunter, Mr. Rambo, is...
Palmo hunter.
That is definitely my nickname, 100%.
That was when the chat really erupted on Monday night, wasn't it? It was when we started criticising your northern culinary dishes.
Yeah, I've got a bone to pick with you still about that, Mr. Hills.
Do they have bones in Palmos?
No.
They do. Know what it is.
If they do, you'd send it back.
No. Anyway,
it's a delicacy, I'll have you know.
Okay. So we've got a lot of people out on track at the moment. I think just about everybody is out on track.
They are. Only a few people still in the pits, of course. Dumbest Hornet. I think Ryan generally doesn't, when he's reserving, doesn't set a lap time. So we've got Dumbest Hornet maybe doing the same. He's still in the pits. Geke, I think, invalidated his first lap time. So did our champion, but he's on again on a fast lap.
He's on a quali ban.
Oh, Barnstop is.
Yeah, so I expect he'll come back into the pits at the end of this. I think that's what he did last time. I think he's doing a fast run to see how the car feels, and then pitting, I should think.
I did not know that.
Did you see that?
I was on board with Soze, so no. Who was it?
The Banstorp just came out of came up the bottom of the hill, came out of the corner. It was very rally-ish. It's like Carlos Sainz Senior rather than Junior, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, he went right off the track, up the grass on the left-hand side, and past another car on the grass.
Oh, well, I mean, if he's passing people on the grass now, I mean,
it's a bit Villeneuve, isn't it?
Yeah. It is.
One of the worst moments in Formula One history. Watching Villeneuve go past Damon at the Hungaroring in 1997, I was so upset.
Oh, I think a lot of people will follow you with that one, with that sentiment. Hugo Boss is now spun. He was on a fast lap. We were just watching that out of, went a little bit wide out of the hairpin. I'm going to have to
at the top.
It is very, very tight. Soze, wow, what a lap that is! Another 17-0.
He's currently going faster. Oh, he's doing a second. He's going to run out of ERS though. Okay, yeah, he's doing a second. He's just going back to the pits very quickly.
Yes, of course. You can get three lap times, 3 laps even in and around here.
But that's when that's when there's a glitch that takes your set of softs off you, isn't it?
Yeah, you can only. It depends how many you've got to go with originally. If you go balance, you've got 3 sets. And if you go softer, you get the 4. But you run out of mediums.
Yeah, but the game shows you as having enough on balance to be able to have one left for the race, but it doesn't let you have it.
Oh yes, it does, doesn't it? Of course. But if you highlight it, it says returned, I think.
Yeah. Even though it shows it is allocated for the race, doesn't make any sense.
No. Yeah. Codemasters have done their thing once again. As always. Who remember? We're on board with Mr. Rob Smith in the, well, it's soon to be redundant, you could say. Silver Arrows, as they go in. If you spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the launch, it's
you could have missed
back.
that. It's on every bit of social media, isn't it?
Yeah, if you're an F1 fan and you haven't seen the car yet, you've got your head in the ground. It is going back to black,
pretty.
and it does look very nice. I agree totally with you. It is.
And I was watching the. Hang on, how's Rob Smith going to do here?
17.4 does improve slightly. Yeah, you still have time for one more if he runs back to the pits.
Yeah, I was watching a video about the comparison with the previous year's car just before this. And actually, it doesn't have the zero pods. It just looks like it doesn't. It looks like it has the zero pods. They're calling them zero pod 0.5 or something. They were joking. But when you look at it from above, actually, it's got more width to it than it had last year.
Right.
I've
not seen this, so this is new. This is news. I'm loving this.
It's very narrow, but it's definitely got. What did they start calling it? They started calling it like a. Was it like an aero cannon or something? They were calling on a lot of the cars. I'm trying to think which one is most pronounced on. Maybe the Alpine. There was like a channel running across the top of the car, like below the airbox, sort of just about the driver's head level. There's like a channel that runs backwards across the car to funnel air down to the rear diffuser. And it's got that running along the back of it. So actually, when you look at it from above, the side pods are actually slightly wider than they were.
That's interesting.
So there is more width to it, but
they did this last season where they had side pods, and we all thought that looks nice, and then they turned up at pre-season testing with nothing.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I've never. I actually quite like the way it looks. I've never had a problem with it. I always think it looks a bit like, if Apple made a car, it'd probably look like that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, we're on board with Scratching. He had a big moment out of Tosa on his next run. I wasn't a fan. I'll be honest. I didn't. Maybe I'm traditional. I like side pods on the car. I like an F1 to look at least like an F1 car did 20 years ago or 30 years ago, and that just was so different. So you could call it revolutionary. And I just couldn't get into it. I couldn't buy into it. It really put me off.
Well, what's interesting is that with these new cars this year, no one's gone that route. No one's gone, that's worked for them. Let's incorporate that. Everyone's gone the other way completely.
Everyone seems to have gone the Red Bull way. And it's Mercedes have said this in the past when they were very dominant, that people are starting to copy different bits. And they take it as a compliment, because if people are copying you, you know it works. Yeah, and everyone's done that to Red Bull, the way their side pod design is, and the channels running underneath the side pods along the floor, for example. There seems to be a bit more of that.
Mercedes has got that. Mercedes does have a bit of that going on as well. It's got more of an undercut than it had last year as well.
Yeah,
which is interesting. But in their launch, they were quite downbeat about how they expect it to perform.
Okay.
they were saying that they feel like they're behind the curve and that it's not going to be competing for wins at the start of the season, but they hoped that they've got stuff in the pipeline that will bring it up to speed relatively quickly. But
then why would you not put it on the car straight away?
Well, it's build times and stuff, isn't it? Lead times, and I guess they need to get probably some testing data to validate what they think they need to do, that sort of thing. McLaren have said the same as well. I mean, McLaren have been really... I don't know whether you've read what McLaren have said about their own car, but McLaren sound like they really don't believe that their car's going to work at all. So it's very weird.
Yeah, it is a strange one, isn't it? There's not the people they don't seem overly confident people at the moment, do they? And it is a very strange way into the season. You normally have a lot of, we think this is good, this feels nice, this philosophy is, we feel the right way to go, and they make positive to make their competitors nervous, to start to make them look over the shoulder. And you're right, people are really playing it down so far.
Yeah, some of the stuff that McLaren said in particular didn't sound like downplaying. It sounded like they genuinely feel like they've got a problem. So,
that's worrying, to say the least.
Well, they still haven't got a up-to-date wind tunnel. The wind tunnel's going to be operating at some point this year, but they're still working with an old, outdated wind tunnel. And that's believed to be one of the big things that's held them back, to be honest. But we shall see. We shall see.
Of course. When is testing? Is it testing end of the month? I think in about a week or two's time.
Yeah, it's very soon, I think. Yeah.
I think because, of course, we used to do Bahrain plus Spain, and now it's just Spain, I think, isn't it? Or just Bahrain.
Rotterdam, look at that.
Wow.
Sorry, I was just on board with him as he came across the line. Great lap.
It was. We just cut to him a little bit, 6 thousandths of a second ahead of his teammate, nonetheless. Wow,
Jackster
that's
is
incredible.
Not on a lap at the moment.
He's just finished. He went pole. He went provisional pole.
Yeah. So I missed that. So yeah.
But we've got Eddie Dust though. He was provisional pole sitter. Now knocked down to 4th. What has he got on his final run?
He's quarter of a second down at the moment.
Yeah, and that is easy to do even through turn 1 and 2. You can very easily leave there 2/10 down, and you feel like you did it better than the previous time. It is a very strange corner, or set of corners.
One person who's literally just started his lap with 5 seconds to go there is Night Shadow.
Ooh. Is he trying to do a Hodge? I crossed the line with about 2 to go, I think. And then I messed up both my runs, I'm not going to lie. It was not a good qualifying set. A good first one, and then it went to pot. Ooh, 17.2 from Eddie Dust does not improve at all. So, are we going to curse the Garvinator?
Well, he's currently he's just a hair's breadth down at the moment.
Yeah, nice run through. We haven't actually done a lap on board with anybody yet, but we'll come to that. We have heard that there is going to be potentially rain at the start of the race as well. Oh, that's spicy. You'd love to see it. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how people have set things up, because these times are definitely dry weather times. They don't look like wet weather downforce levels, do they? So maybe it's not going to be too damp. Here comes Gavin across the line. Improved to 7th. Good lap. Very, very close as well, from 5th to 9th even, and 10th, less than 2/10 of a second with splitting them. But there we are, folks. Qualifying round Imola is complete now. So Rotterdam leads the Red Bull 1-2 from his teammate Jackster. Casey Soze lines up in 3rd with Eddie Dust in 4th position. Rob Smith is in the Mercedes. He lines up 5th with Neil in 6th. Nice shot after that great lap is in 7th. That Convertible on his return is in 8th. E17 in 9th. Kareem Scratch Charisma in 10th. Dumas Hornet reserving tonight, set on the time on the mediums in 11th, with Doris in 12th. Ghost Rider in 13th. Boothie 14th. Ryan in 15th on the mediums, and we'll come to the last 5 in just a moment. You're right, they are very dry times, so it could just be light rain, going to dry again for the majority of the race, which would, as you suggested, they are dry times.
Little shout out to the medium runners there. They've all done very well on those mediums, times wise.
Yes, they are very quick. We saw
Convert
Ryan
that into a soft time, those would be very quick laps, wouldn't they?
Yeah, worryingly quick laps, to be honest. We've seen Gibbon there in 16th, Hugo Boss in 17th, the Gecko in 18th, T-Bike Clay in 19th, and Tobias in 20th. Was on the qualifying
Alexander,
ban.
Alexander, who is Rotterdam, is in the chat.
Yes.
He's happy to have his first pole. And well done, mate. Good stuff.
What a play. Yeah, fantastic. Congrats.
And I'm hearing torrential rain from Gav. Why's Gavin put torrential rain?
Because it is! Ooh! You're right. Who set up for this?
Nobody!
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a mite damp. That is.
That's... Do I say it? A little bit moist?
It's raining cats and dogs, I can tell, because one of the guys in the Haas garage just stepped in a poodle. Sorry. Tears
wow.
Gavin's getting all political.
He is. Mandy said, holy cow, it's a monsoon. Yep, it certainly is. As soon as we go on the formation lap, we will find out. Let's have a quick look. What tyres are we? It's full wet tyres as well. This is going to be... I'm going to go with the term interesting. To say the least. But what we'll do, while we're on, with all on wet, there's no point, as Rotterdam immediately goes straight through turn 1. Wow. No. Well, turn 1 he's passed. That was Chagado, News, turn 3, and Tamburello corner. And now he's into the Villeneuve chicane 5 and 6. He has absolutely no front end grip.
No. He also he's going very quickly for an outlap on wets in torrential rain.
I think he's just trying to get the heat into them. Through Tosa, up the hill to Piratella. I never ever remember these names.
I'm rubbish with the corner names around here.
Yeah, I am. He is really struggling at the moment to keep that car just turned into 9 and 10 to Aqua Minerali. And then he's just... This is going to be an interesting race. Who has set the car up? Who has not? Who has taken the gamble that it's going to dry up later on? As he goes through the Viranti Alta, turn 11, turn 12. Down the hill will be turn 13 somewhere. There it is. That's the one. As it veers right into Rivazza 1 and 2, turns 14 and 15. We used to have the Viranti Barça 16 and 17. Now, of course, that does not exist.
No, but I'm old enough, I was saying this the other night, I'm old enough to remember when it didn't have it, and then when it did have it, and now it doesn't have it again.
I remember when it did have it, because I loved that chicane. It was one of those chicanes that was quite a nice, kind of fast, reasonably speedy entry tight into the second part, like some of the chicanes do in here, already, like the Villeneuve chicane. And I liked it. It did split up that long, never-ending straight that we have. And it does one of those straights that is never-ending until you suddenly go think, oh my god, I need to think about braking.
Yeah, that first corner is tough.
Yeah.
I've got some concerns about how these guys are going to be feeling when they arrive into turn 1.
Nervous.
This is going to be nervous. Yeah, that's the word I would use as well. Yeah.
Yeah. If they're nervous, how do you think we feel in the box? But here we go, folks. Time will tell. 5 red lights are lit for the penultimate round of Season 9, Tier 3 MRC. We go racing. Lights are off. How does Rotterdam get away from the line? He just about gets away from the line. Jackson, his teammate, gets a medal, and they make contact already. Jackson lost traction, and they've already come together. Eddie Duster's behind. We're going to have to go on board, unfortunately. Eddie backs off. Rotterdam's trying to make the move back on his teammate. Just about, they're all going wide, bouncing over the front. There's an Alpine gone as well. I think that's Kaiser. It is. race. But Night Shadow, wow, Night Shadow, what a start. He's already up with B17. It was that's Rotterdam at a moment. He's gone backwards as well. It's Gav, it's Night Shadow's up into third already. Scrambling for grip. He's in. Look at the cars that cannot get any grip out the rear tyres further down the order. There's another Alpine. It's gone round. Who is that? It's in the Alpine. It's Doris. Dora the Explorer has gone round in the middle of Torso. There's a McLaren at the back with no front wing. That's Geke Matthew.
Geke. Yeah, he unfortunately speared sideways into the pit wall at the start.
I've just seen cases associated drift. What have you seen?
Yeah, I think exactly the same. Just cars drifting everywhere. We've got I didn't realise that Rotterdam's lost his wing.
Ooh, has he?
Did
not know that.
Bad luck, mate.
That is from Paul as well.
And I think there's a Mercedes driving around without a front wing as well.
Let's cut that. Maybe
that?
Ghost. It's not Ghost Rider. He's just cut the chicane though, so I don't know what happened there. Is that?
I must have dreamt that. Don't worry.
Okay.
Maybe it was just the angle.
Could be, yeah, because Rob Smith as well. He's up in 8th. He has still got his front wing. After that, are they doing a tribute to Ken Block tonight? They could be, the amount of drifting that they're doing, but Jackster does finally complete the first lap with Eddie Dust right under his wing and Night Shadow as well. Now, is Gav set up for the wet tyres a little bit more? He does seem to be. He made a fantastic start from 7th up to 3rd. E17 in 4th, that convertible 5th. Let's have a quick look at those position changes on that first lap because, wow. So Rotterdam Geke have pitted for new front wings as we suggested there for you. Kesa and Rob down a few. Everybody else, well, there's a lot of drivers up. Toby in his first lap from last on the grid up to 11th spot. T.Y. Clear up 7 spots. They're the biggest winners. Then we've got Redcar up 6 spots. He's currently in 9th. He unfortunately had every bit of damage is possible to a Formula 1 car in Tier 2 on Monday evening, so he's looking to have a strong race this evening as reserve driver. He's 17 up 5 as well. Gav and Kareem Benzema up. Oh, the Red Bull. Oh, what's that? Oh, that was Eddie Dust went straight over the chicane. I don't know if he locked up. I don't know if he had a tap. But that's allowed Gav to come through into second now to chase down Jackson. That, got the benefit of that as a few drivers had to really slow down. It's brought E17 and that convertible very much into play. This is just treacherous.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people right on top of each other still.
Yeah.
As Gav sets the first. No, Gav's lost his fastest lap. So the track has sped up. The tyres are obviously coming in. That's the message, isn't it? Because there's lots of people setting fastest laps, so the tyres are obviously warming up a little bit.
Yeah, they are. We've got Kendrick Victor. The whole of Rotterdam is cheering for you. Who have you seen? What happened to Jackson? Jackson's gone on the outside. He just makes the move on the outside and takes the lead. Had to slow on the exit though because he had to take the outside line. Nearly got a tap from the Red Bull, but I'll tell you what he does is having a look on the inside into Toaster as he got the traction on the exit. He does. There's the Red Bull alongside and he does make it. So in 3 corners, Jackson's gone from the lead down into 3rd spot. Oh, his Gav's gone drifting as well up the top of the hill.
I suspect that maybe you can set up with like a higher Gav just went very off track there. You can set the car up 2 ways there. You can either go like slightly lower downforce and use the suspension to give yourself a bit more rotation, or you can go slightly more downforce, which is actually equally quick over the whole lap, but leaves you vulnerable on the straight. So if you've set yourself up with a higher downforce dry setup, that could still actually see you through a wet period of the race.
As Curtis Souza goes very wide into Lavazza, and that's going to leave him vulnerable to Rob Smith. No, he couldn't manage to do it this time. I think you mentioned this in practice, I do believe, about the downforce and about the different types of setup that you can use.
Yeah, I mean, I was running 22-20, I think, the other night.
Actually, I was similar, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
I was very similar. As Eddie's taken Gav. Gav's had a moment, and Eddie's now taken the lead. I feel like this is going to be very, very long. chopping and changing positions as Jackson now goes very wide. That's allowed E17 to get through and up into third. But yes, I was running very similar, and I wasn't the quickest down the straight, I must admit.
No, I was struggling to get anywhere near anybody going down the straight, to be honest with you. But yeah, I mean, some of the setups that I've sort of experimented with had much higher downforce than that, and they were still as quick because you were quick everywhere else apart from the start-finish straight. So
we've got to say, we've missed something. There's a safety car. Hugo Braun's outside the exit of Tamburello corner, and now we've brought out. It could be one of those evenings. Oh, someone's had damage. Who was that? What happened? I just saw wing. I just saw. Is that
it's
between
Scratch? It's Scratch. Scratch has got no front wing.
I wonder if the Deltas came up there and he's had to hit the brakes hard and couldn't, or someone else hit the brakes hard. He was having such a good start as well, and he looked very, very racy as well, did Scratch.
Obviously, what we don't have is access to the weather forecast, so it'd be interesting to know, does it look to you like that rain's eased off a little bit?
Little bit, yes. It
looks
looks
on screen. It's still raining, but it doesn't look like it's torrential like it was at the start.
No, you're right, and I think that could almost, if that looked like that at the start of the race, you would err on the side of intermediates, I think. Yeah,
I'm just wondering whether any of these guys are going to take a gamble.
I think with the field being the bunch, he decided to stick until it maybe dries up enough for the dry time. Personally, that's what I think I do.
Neil's got intermediate, so we'll soon find out.
That's going to be very interesting. See how much he can get them heated up and see what he can do with racing. Are they going to have the grip or the wet? We saw that in Singapore for Tier 2, where wets were good and the fade and inters were back being good.
Well, we saw it in Tier 1 here on Monday as well, didn't we? where who was it who came in and slapped on a set of intermediates in the dry and ended up...
It was G-Star.
Yeah,
and really preempted that.
Everyone was scoffing, and then suddenly it was exactly the right thing to be on, and
took the win in the end, I think, didn't he? I think.
Yeah, I think he did.
I'm not going to lie. After Stewart comes, and after the 5 shots of rum I did, I forget.
Yeah, I forget as well, to be honest with you. It's been one of those days. So whilst we're on the old safety cars, what cars are yet to launch for the new season? Alpine haven't done an official launch yet, have they?
They're the last ones, and they are tomorrow.
They've run their car on track, but nobody's seen it.
So they've done their shakedown.
They have. And has AlphaTauri now actually had their real car out? Because all they had were renders so far.
That's true, yes, they did, didn't they?
They were due to get the actual car out. I'm sure I read that somewhere.
There's a few... Oh, sorry, Sergio Sam, Ugoni got the win. Ugoni, sorry, it's not Ugoni, as we found out from yourself and Simon. It's Ugoni, the Italian, on his home Grand Prix.
Yes.
Yep, sorry, Sam. Sorry, Ugoni.
Gav is saying that the forecast is rain all the way.
Okay. So, it does look heavy. Let's go on board. Rotterdam's left the session. Oh, that's just a little glitch, and he gets back in as well. Now, does Scratch get a 5-second penalty? He got 3 seconds. So that's track limits. I'm going to go on board with Gav, because I know we're under safety car. Just to look at the track. There are tyre marks, but it's not like a dry line that sometimes you get from the intermediates, is it?
It's not, but sometimes it's more about feel than what it looks like quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's surprising how quickly it does dry out once the rain eases off.
Which is the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Yeah. Once it stops raining, that's it. It's suddenly dry tyres again. You're thinking, well, I mean, if I lived in a country like that, you wouldn't know what if you're coming or going.
safety car coming in.
Wow, that was a late call.
Yeah, no, it's tricky because you have to err on the side of caution, don't you? Because the game forces you into being cautious. Because as soon as it starts to dry out, within a lap, you're on the wrong tyres, aren't you? So you have to go straight away. Exactly.
But Eddie Dust, when will he go? Speaking of going, and he's gone now. He's gone very early. Has he caught Gav Duffy? He certainly has not. The field actually go with him. E17 got a very good launch. But he is Gav. He is Gav. Is he under the rear wing of the Williams? Is he going to have a go on the outside of turn one? He's nearly there. Nearly there. Backs out of it. But can he get stopped? He can't. And he just can't get it stopped. He's gone across the gravel. That's allowed Gav through. And E17.
E17's right up behind Gav, though. He took a huge chunk of time out of him there.
He did. I think Gav aired on the side of caution, trying to force that mistake, and it worked an absolute treat. E17 was just a bit further back, so I could pick his braking point absolutely perfectly. And I'm not singing that, Simba. That's up to Martin's going to sing that out loud in the YouTube chat.
I don't do singing.
No, we still need to get Baby Hornet to sing, and we still haven't yet. And it's. If he needs to do it for the last round, oh, phew! Nice Shadow and E17 both drifting their way through the top of the hill. Oh my days! It's going to take. To be fair, they may have got the heat back in now if they'd warmed the tyres up nicely.
The tyres are in the low 60s.
Oh yes, you're quite good at that. You can see that. Let's have a look. Yes, low 60s. I think that is about working windows. They do operate at lower temperatures, of course.
They do. I think when they're proper warmed up, I think they come up to kind of 70-ish, don't they? I think. As in, like, you know, as opposed to the dry tyres, which come up to kind of like the high 90s.
Yeah, they can do. Yes, very true.
Yeah.
I tend to, even though I've got it in front of me on my phone on an app, I don't tend to look at it much. I look more at the wear than the temps. Unless I've had a spin, and then I have to look at the temps. You know, am I able to go in a straight line in fifth gear or not?
Oh, we've got a car off the track there. Who's that?
Oh, was that Ryan? Is that red car? It was. I think it's Ryan. He's dropping down. He's allowed Toby through. Dumas Hornets through as well. And he's going to have. He's under pressure from Doris on the comeback. Oh, not quite. But Doris is hounding the Haas. Oh, is he going to have a look into... He's going to make a move into Dawson just about. I don't know if Ryan saw him, but there was a bit of room left just about.
With these cars, that is a difficult place, let's say, to overtake.
Oh, that was a nasty... That was... That was... Oh, wow. What a save that was from Toby at the top of the hill. Sorry to cut you off. I just saw an Aston Martin going very, very sideways. Wow. Oh, he's 17, 3-second penalty as well.
Yeah, I just watched Gav going through that chicane on board, and I can't imagine he's far off a 3-second penalty either, to be honest with you. Yeah,
there's a few now. Scratch Gibbs got another 3-second penalties. Boothy's joined on 3. Scratch now on 6 seconds already. Is anyone on Inters, says Sergeant Uncle Sam. There is. The men at the back of the field currently are on the intermediate tyres. So E17 got 3 seconds, but he also sets the fastest lap of the race. As close that gap by 4/10 of a second now to Gav who's currently in the lead. So there is a few people in this. So we'll keep our eye on the Alpha Tauri boys. We're currently 18th and 19th. And let's see.
I'm just going to ride on board with Neil for a second and see how he's getting on. I'll report back.
Okay, you do that. I was actually going to join you, but we shall keep on this battle. We've got quite a lot of people. Daco Vertical, Casey Soze, Jackson, Rob Smith, and Toby, and also Dumas Hornet, and Doris, and Ryan, all in a line. That is now 5th down to 11th, all very much on the rear of each other. And this is going to be down to who can get the most grip, who can get the front end turn, who's going to have the least slidey car when the power is applied. You should make the Matrix and sing the song I made for you. No one needs to hear me sing.
Riding on board with Neil, the car on wets in front of him definitely has a traction advantage out of the corners.
Right. He's holding on nicely, though, to the back of Geke at this moment in time.
Although, having said that, out of that corner, it wasn't very different, but Geke looked like he went a bit deep.
Yeah, so...
Oh, yes, and I was about to say he's just cut the corner, and there he goes. He's got a 3-second penalty for his efforts.
Oh, not good. Not good at all. Gav now retakes the fastest lap with a 31. That's nearly a second quicker than E17 did last time around. So E17 did improve, but not enough. So the track now, the fuel's burning off, the tyres are rubbing in very nicely indeed. Jax has fallen off the back of Kesasose somewhat, so this is going to be a very interesting battle. And speaking of Kesasose, and around with Daco Vertical, gets the run and makes the move back up into fourth is Kesa after that first lap. Oh, is that the score? I think that's Rob Smith. It is. He's in a wall. Oh, has he managed to keep it out? There does look to be damage on the front of that Mercedes. Gets it spun round and back on track, but he's lost a lot of places. Now down to 15th. That's how closely packed everybody is.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we're all gathered up after the safety car to a degree again as well, aren't we? But yeah, it's one of those tracks where it's such a short lap that the gaps never get that big.
You're right. I did notice that. I mean, it was. Yeah, the gaps were very, very short. Myself and Calvin were pushing each other in general, not just fighting for wins and the championship battle. But after the safety car, we thought, well, we've got X amount of laps left, about 5 laps I think we had roughly left of the tyres at a good push. And it was just one, we need to maximise it. And my Delta that comes on, as Dumas Hornet hit the pit.
Just pitted. Yeah, I was just riding on board with Ryan and watched him dart in. So I'm assuming that's going to be a tyre change.
He has. He's gone to Inters.
When you ride on board, I wouldn't say there's not a dry line appearing, but there does appear to be a less wet line appearing.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
But the rain isn't very heavy. We're on board now with DAC Convertible.
Look, tyre clear, fastest lap on intermediates.
There we are.
There's the trigger. Everyone, if you've just seen that, you're going to pit.
Yeah, totally agree.
That's got to be the trigger.
It must be. I mean, unless you hold out to see, because they won't. With the last, well, yeah, we've got 21 laps, so they may just about hold on. And if it does eventually dry up, I think we're on approximate weather, aren't we, on tier 3?
Yeah, I was looking at the sky as well. The sky's got sort of more broken cloud in it now as well.
Yeah, let's have a look through.
Brighter.
Yeah, Jax is struggling for grip. He's dropped down the order as well. It is, yeah, you're right. It does start to look a little bit of blue. It's Mandy, stop encouraging him. Mark, stop it. They're encouraging us to sing, and I'm not having it. I will not have this. As Gav's pitted. Gav has pitted. The leader has decided to pit. Just 5-second penalty for speeding. No, Eddie. Currently in third, or was in third. That's going to hurt.
Barnstorps just now. Done the fastest lap on wet.
Yeah, and I have absolutely no idea the glitch we've just had on Gav's. Gav has completely disappeared into oblivion. There he is. And he's got on the Inters, so you're right. I have no idea what happened on the stream there, folks.
We're obviously at that crossover, aren't we? The track's getting faster, and one tyre is no faster than the other, but the track is faster than it was. I'm guessing that's what's happening. But look at the screen is rapidly going green.
It is. Let's have a quick look.
Intermediate tyres.
Yep, we've got just over half the field. So Neil, with that early pit stop, yes, he's done 7 laps on those intermediate tyres, so he probably will have to pit again. But the positions he's going to gain could really outweigh. But the problem with Gav is Gav's now under his rear wing. Yes, he has Eddie Dust, who's going to have... Oh, is he going to make a move on the hill? Is Night Shadow quick enough? He's looking. He's backed out. Not close enough. Didn't have the drag up the hill. Did our net race leader. But I tell you what, Neil was a little bit wide. Scout going to try and have a look outside down the hill. He doesn't. Neil manages to lock that off in his quest to get past Ghost Rider, still on the wet tyres. But Gav is looking racy, and those Inters will be nice and warm. They do warm up very, very quickly. So he's had to slam on the brakes on the exit because of Ghost Rider, who's just not got the grip really in the front. Here we are. Look at the top guys. They're all now pitting. Doris is the only one who hasn't yet. E17's pitted. He's put the Inters on. Now, where is Gav? Oh, Gav in the last corner, bouncing over the curves. Oh, see how desperate he is to try to get past. But I tell you what, he's lost a place now. This is Eddie Dust coming through, side by side. Where's E17 going to be? He doesn't quite make it. There's E7. There he is further back. Carved out of the brakes. Doesn't want to make contact with the Alpha Tauri. This is tight. He's gone to the outside. Oh, what a move. Defence turns into attack in the space of 2 corners.
I think the guys at the front have left it just slightly too late now, unfortunately.
Yep, you'll have to see that gap closing rapidly, won't we now?
Rotterdam had clambered back up. I think he was up to about 11th or something like that. I noticed he was back in the midfield again. But he's going to tumble a long way back down again, unfortunately, I think.
Yep. Eddie Dust, with that undercut, you could say, has got past E17 in that pit stop phase. E17 has got 3 seconds, while Eddie Dust has got 5, which he will have to serve. Of course, should he pit again. But Ghost Rider's quite close a little bit now to scratch Charisma. Neil's now got 3-second penalty. Oh no,
yeah,
Neil.
He was fighting with Eddie Dust up the hill into the Variante Alta. And I guess he just outbraked himself a little bit there. But what I was going to say was that I think he's starting to struggle on those inters. Bizarrely, he's not got the confidence that the other cars have. Eddie just drove straight past him. Scratch is pitting now as well.
And gets 5 seconds penalty, as well.
Unfortunately.
So there's 10.3.
Eddie Dust is flying up behind Ghost Rider right now. And he's doing him around the outside.
Wow.
Eddie Dust looks like he's got mega speed right now.
He does. This could be a drier setup.
Yeah.
Then look at Rob Smith now. He had that moment, but he's down in 18th, and yet sets. That was 2.5 seconds quicker than what we had on the wets in terms of fastest lap.
Yeah.
So definitely. Oh, that's a big accident further back. Just seen a lot of carbon fibre flying around. Who's come into who and hit who, and that could barely be dismissed as something wrong. We're not at the 9 o'clock watershed yet, so I do apologise. I don't know who's missing an end plate, who's missing a wing, but they're almost side by side. Neil's fighting. Who's lost a wing? I cannot see.
No, I was just having a look through. I can't see any.
All the while,
bits.
this is look at the queue. It's this formation lap. It's a Ferrari. Ferrari. Thomas Horner's lost the end plate on his wing. Oh, Barnstable gets a 3-second penalty, but he's part of this queue.
Yeah, they're all stuck behind Ghost Rider, like the other pack were.
Yeah, but Ghost Rider's still only less than a second behind E17. Look at these guys now, the 27s now. This is Night Shadow's taken approximately 3 seconds out of Doris in that lap alone, who we have learnt last week is actually in China. Here's Doris.
He's from
Hong Kong.
China. Yeah, he's from Hong Kong, I think. I don't think he's there all the time, because I remember kind of back around New Yearish time. I think he went to. He said to me he was going away to Hong Kong. So, I've got a funny feeling that he lives somewhere else, like maybe the US. I've got a feeling it could be the US.
Like a college, university. They do.
Yeah, I don't know, but yes. He's also, unfortunately, just picked up a time penalty, as we said that.
As well. But the gap it's already closed by 2 seconds. Oh, as Barnstop goes on the outside of Dumasaurus. Oh, a little bit of wheel banging. A lot of wheel banging. Dumasaurus lost out. There's a big hit and Dumasaurus out. I think that might have been... It's either one of the Alpha Tauris. There is another safety car. Is this... Yeah, Doris takes the opportunity, pits straight away. That has hurt, most of all, Night Shadow and Eddie Dust, because they were just pulling a huge gap over E17 and the rest of the pack.
Oh gosh, yes, that Ferrari is missing several parts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately.
Lost both of the wheels on one side.
Oh, Ghost Rider for his troubles gets through a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So, Eddie Dusters decide to pit again for fresh inters. They'll easily go to, you'd have to say, you'd think they'd go to the end now after that. Oh, God. That's...
yeah, I would think so. Oh, we've got some people going on to dry tyres. Ghost Rider,
medium
Neil,
and hard.
Jackster and Red Car have all gone on to mediums and hards, yeah.
Do they think it's going to stop? Is it going to stop in the next... I wonder if they've had the radio message, it's going to stop in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's a tricky race to judge, isn't it, really? This could be genius. Because, yeah, I mean, everyone at the front is kind of committed now, aren't they? So, unless the whole of the front pack went in right now, but I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, I think...
there was a hit under the safety car. I just saw a piece of carbon fibre flying under the safety car then.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who that was further back. I'm not sure.
It
is. It's T.Y. Clear's lost the end plate.
Yeah.
So he may have gone to the back of Barnstop. Let's have a quick look at the penalty situation. There's I didn't want to say it, but there was potential of a lot coming. Just due to the conditions, not because of the drivers. Yeah. We know how competitive these guys are. And we have E17, Barnstop, DAC Convertible, Dora the Explorer, Boothie, Rob Smith, Rotterdam, Neil on 3 seconds, Geke on 6. We have Scratch now on 9 seconds. It's gone from bad to worse for Kareem Benzema, and Ghost Rider for speeding in the pit lane has 5 seconds himself. So let's go back to those tyres. T.Y. Clear's done 10 laps on his inters.
Yes. Yeah.
And a damaged front wing.
They're going to be coming off at some point, aren't they? I suspect. If people are feeling confident about putting... In fact, let's just whilst we're saying that, I'm just going to have a quick look and see how the...
Jaxter's pitted again. Oh, he's gone on hards. Geke Matthews gone on hard tyres.
I would not go on hards.
I would have gone mediums personally.
Yeah, I mean hards are never the right tyre when it's wet.
No, that's just Jaxter's now gone on mediums. To be fair, for that matter, Scratch is pitted.
Ryan completely missed the first corner. He couldn't slow it down at all.
Under safety car as well. This, let's be honest. I have absolutely no clue of how this is going to play out.
Oh, and now, I'm watching, Neil's just done the same thing. He's just gone super wide and out into the gravel. This might be too early. Unless the safety car stays out long enough, like you said. Yeah,
and because we've got Scratch a little bit further down, Rob Smith and Rotterdam are having a little tussle for position in the safety car. If it does stop, let's say... Okay, now, which it is very, very light. Let's go on board with Ghost Riders in the middle of it. That is stopping. That rain is so light.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. This is the point, isn't it? Where it suddenly just goes, oh no, it's dry now.
Exactly. Have these guys committed an absolute masterstroke? It's now stopped. It has now stopped raining.
It has. It has stopped.
This could be an absolute masterstroke for these guys, and there's
going around again.
It is.
The car is going to go around again.
Would you chance it? Get to the back of the pack? You wouldn't. You'd actually fall probably behind Red Car, but have the dry tyres.
Everyone's gone past. Everyone's gone past.
Yeah, apart from Gibbon and Eddie Dust. I probably would take that gamble. I would have to say.
Yeah, I think so.
Because those mediums are good. The inters are going to be good for about a lap, maybe 2, and then you're going to have to hit the. You've got to hope that there's enough. It's wet enough to have the grip while it's still, and then have for the medium, the dry tyre runners to struggle with the warm up.
Well, when you go on board, there's still puddles. But there's definitely a line appearing.
There's a lot more tyre marks appearing. And now we're on board with Neil, who took a wide line through Tulsa. And if that was wet, he wouldn't have been able to turn.
Oh,
the Scotch Christmas retired. That may be in the pit lane. I think it is. It is. And we've got Geke in the pits as well. I think he's spent a long time in the pits. Yeah, he is. Now he gets moving again. Yeah, he's we're on board with Neil, and he's struggling to get the car turned at some point, but then it seems to turn. So, safety car now in again this lap. This time, it is the Banshee man who will lead the way and be the de facto safety car.
It's still not quite dry, but I think within a lap or two, it's going to be dry, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And have these guys left it too late? It's going to help TY Clear because he's 11 laps on his inters, and that's going to hurt anyway. Let's get rid of those tyres. We know roughly... who's the leader, sorry? On the Ghost Rider, on the mediums. So, Ghost Rider down there, the guys to watch. But, whoa, Scapco's drifted through the last corner, and he's gone. He's tried to go and drop E17. The drift won't have helped, but I think E17 had the same thing. 0.6 of a second. TY Clear's decided to pit now. That's... Oh, well, but it's obviously dry enough. It is getting very, very dry. And E17 is very quick in a straight line. He took 2/10 out of, well, at least a 10th out of Gav down the straight.
What we've got to watch now is how much gap these guys either create or don't create. Yeah. Which is going to be the telling factor of whether they've made... Well, they were too late to make a call, weren't they? So they committed to going around, whilst others at the back didn't need to, so...
And Ghost Rider is the lead on the medium tyres, and the gap to Rotterdam is 4.85 seconds and getting bigger all the time. Is it too soon? They're struggling. Look at the gap. You can see even on the track map. The guys haven't even gone up into Piratella.
Yeah.
And the gap is ridiculous and getting up faster and faster all the time, whereas Gav is now just absolutely putting the hammer down. We're going to move away from this because there's a bit of a queue and a bit of a battle going on behind with Sose, Dakon, Doro, Boothie, Rotterdam, and then Sose and Barnstop leading that little foray behind the Banshee, who's got 2.8 seconds lead as it stands, trying to create, as you said, well, he said, no, it's the fastest lap of the race, so that's interesting.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm watching these dry runners. They're struggling a little bit for turning, but not a lot.
Must be traction then, because it's 10 seconds in one lap that they've lost.
I mean, nobody messed up the chicane at the top of the hill. It all everybody went through it neatly enough, so it's not like they're struggling to slow down and turn. They're obviously just, like you say, just not getting the power down, I guess.
But normally the key, as Barstop's having a look at E17, goes around the outside, he does, E17's got wing damage. That could explain part of the gap that's opened, as now Obi is now setting off after Gav, front wing damage. But normally the key, has Gav's now got 3 seconds?
I thought that might be coming. I've seen him do a few Larry takings of that chicane.
Yeah, easy to do. That was actually down the bottom of the hill. That one.
Yeah, it was actually, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That track's looking very dry all of a sudden, though.
It's normally as soon as DRS enabled comes on screen is when the crossover phase kicks in.
But it's losing its sheen. There's no spray.
You're right. You're very right. But that gap nearly 12 seconds to the medium tires as Gav. Who's that that's pitted? Is that Dor? No, it wasn't. Who was that that pitted? E17 is pitted. Dakon Verbal's pitted as well. And Dakon Verbal 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane.
Same for E17 as well, unfortunately.
Oh,
they both came in competitively and both got a penalty.
Look at that. That's Boothie fighting with Rotterdam. Rotterdam just about keeps ahead. Is Boothie trying to get the run through Tamburello down the straight? He does, but is he going to be close enough? That Red Bull looks very, very quick in a straight line from Rotterdam. Manages to gets it slowed down. Boothie takes a bit of the bumpy route.
Just watching that gap is now coming down slightly.
Yeah, so it's hovered at 12 seconds. Yeah, you're right. Now 11
points. Yeah, quickly.
that did that, and then he's gone back again.
No, that's because he's run wide. He went off track.
Okay, so now it's Eddie Dust is the man who we're going to be keeping an eye on, who had set a purple first second. That does look well. Let's go on board. That's dry.
Yeah.
That is very much dry. So, what are the leaders going to do this time round? As our race leader, 3.4 second the gap. As it comes through Rivatsa. And the second Rivatsa, has he got enough grip? Is he going to go out? He does, he's pitted!
He is. Yep,
now
I think
then,
that had to be done.
I think you're right. That gap has now come down to 11 seconds. It was 12.
They're
that's
all
a point.
pitting.
Yeah,
They're all pitting.
They are. Rotterdam as well. Is Boothie going to join him? He does.
Now,
this is going to be
Eddie
close.
Eddie Dust is going to be in the lead, isn't he?
Yes.
It's a long pit lane.
Yep.
It's a long pit lane.
It is.
He's going to be comfortably in the lead, in fact, isn't he?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, well, there he goes past the start-finish line. And it's the exit of the pits is so long. There's a lot of people gone past.
Yeah.
So, they just about held on. As Nature just comes about. Oh, Gibbon just gets past. But it's going to take a few laps. It's going to be a completely different feeling from the Inters to those medium tyres. That's it. How quickly can Gav get the feeling back? And yes, he feels it in his fingers, in his toes, and it's rain is not all around us anymore. It's still the MRC show. There you go, Mark. There you go, Mandy. It's close enough. Sorry.
Well,
Continue.
It is the show that never ends, apparently.
It is. Only for a few weeks. In between seasons and bank holidays, but we never really end.
Have we got anything happening in the gap?
I think there is going to be a race. I don't exactly know. I think it's the Anaconda's going to do it.
Okay.
He did mention it, but he's gone a little bit AWOL. And I think he's got a little bit on in his personal life.
Yeah.
So not actually 100% sure what's happening with that. We do have something lined up because we have 2 bank holidays in a row in May. One for the general bank holiday and, of course, the King's coronation here in the UK. So we have got a coronation special. And that is not Coronation Street, that's a coronation special. On the Wednesday evening on that week, we will run a special event to celebrate, of course, the coronation of King Charles III in the UK. So there is something planned for that. That's all I'm aware of at this present moment.
I won't be available for that one. I'll be out in the garden burning my effigies of the royal family.
Wow.
Just having a look. Gav is obviously now on much younger
Boosie's
tyres.
out. Boosie's retired from the session. It's another safety car.
Safety car. So that's useful for the guys who are on worn tyres. If I was one of those guys up the front there, I would now be coming straight in.
Yep. As Geke has decided to pit very last minute. You're right. Just to that. Now we've got 9 laps left.
Well, I was literally just about to say that the guys up the front have obviously got 7-lap-old tyres, whereas the guys from Night Shadow down are on brand news, obviously. So
yeah,
I would be tempted. I don't know. Then again, I suppose.
What's Eddie going to do? Eddie stays out. What does Ryan do? He stays out. Neil stays out. Ghost Rider stays out.
Yeah.
Jackson stays out. And of course, Gav does as well. So
the gap is too small, isn't it, to do that with, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're going to lose too much time. They would end up down in pretty much 15 behind Rob Smith.
Yeah, a jump to softs might have worked, though.
Well, that was my next point I was going to make to you. Is it too long to make the softs last?
Oh, they'll do 8 laps.
That is.
Yeah, no, I did 8 laps on them in practice. They seem to be all right. In fact, I did 11 laps on them in practice, and they started falling off after lap 8. Because it's a low wear track, isn't it? So it's
it can be, yes, unless you're me, because then they're really not. Limited. I struggled. I always struggle for tyre wear. I don't know why.
Because you're going too quick.
I don't know how I obviously set my car. I seem to struggle, for tyre wear, and I get them to about. I'm not very good at extending, but when I get to the pit stop window is pretty much. Oh, I've got no comeback to that either. Absolutely not. What can you say to that? It's like,
you need to extend before you put a fresh rubber on.
Yeah. I was tired. What can I say?
Should we change the subject?
Yes, please.
So earlier on, I was starting to say So we've seen a lot of liveries now. How do you rate the liveries?
So the AlphaTauri, the renders it's gone for the matte colour, the matte finish. Looks a little bit better than last year, but it's the best thing. Yeah. I like
it's
the
slightly
Williams.
less boring than the Red Bull. The Red Bull is just the most boring livery.
Teams generally spiced up a little bit. I know McLaren is very similar to last year, but it's still a nice livery. So why change it?
It looks a bit more purposeful this year than McLaren. It's got less blue on it, more orange.
Yes, and
they've kind of shaped the graphics a bit more. They're kind of like angular rather than kind of blobby. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I noticed one of the purple lines that you were saying there does go around and follow the curves of the side pods a little bit.
Yeah,
so you're
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, like the orange on the side pods is like pointed rather than being a big
just a blob
chunk covered. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the McLaren looks better than it does this year visually.
Yeah. I like the Duracell bit on the top of the Williams.
Yeah, I like that. I know some people are like, oh, it's terrible, but they ran it last year as well.
Yeah, I like it. Well, we're on board with it, and you've got the red and it's Lavazza at the top, but I like it. Yeah. I like the Duracell bit.
I think they had it for occasional races last year. I think it was might have been Miami. Actually.
Oh, so it's one of those like McLaren have done for years, and Williams did for years, where the sponsors are only in particular continents.
Yeah, but I think this year Duracell are on board for the whole thing.
Ah, gotcha. I quite like the new Haas colours. I do like the new Haas colours, actually.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
That is so much nicer than the aforementioned flag that they went with. The Aston Martin looks the same.
Oh no, it doesn't. It's lovely.
It does look nice. It is nice. I'm not saying it isn't. I like it. It is.
I
but
think
it's still the same.
I think it's arguably the best looking car on the grid, the Aston, in terms of the colours. I love that colour.
I'm not saying I don't, because I do agree. It's nice to have the British Racing green back on the grid. They could have just, like McLaren, the papaya is gorgeous, but they could have changed it potentially a little bit.
I think the yellow is less fluorescent, isn't it? I think it's got like more of a sort of like a banana-y sort of yellow to it, hasn't it? I think.
I say I like the fluorescent. But
well,
I seem to add yellow and purple in all my helmet designs anyway, so it's and car design. So I'm really not in a position to talk.
Well, they had pink the first season, didn't they?
Yeah.
Which was all wrong because that's not even their racing colour. I don't know why they did. They had BWT, didn't they? That's why.
Of course, yeah, because it came from now obviously that's with Alpine, and they had two designs, didn't they? Two liveries. Yeah. Obviously tomorrow we'll see. Hopefully they do away with that. Who else we got? Obviously the Alfa Romeo looks stunning.
Yeah, it looks. Why didn't they do that like 3 years ago?
Yeah.
Instead of driving around that.
The barber shop.
I thought the Alfa livery just looks odd. The only time it looked good was I want to say it was 2020 at Monza when they ran like the special cloverleaf livery, and it had the big green cloverleaf on the engine cover.
Oh, it did.
That looked nice, but the red and yellow just looks like I don't know. It's just something about it, just a bit.
Yeah,
but the new one does look nice, very shiny.
But yeah, the 2020 had the big Alfa Romeo logo on as well, which was really nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Who else have we missed?
Safety car is about to come in, by the way.
Yes,
Ferrari
looks nice. I think it does look good.
When you start looking, it's actually got quite a lot of differences actually in terms of like I think never understood why they were running just a black wing all year this year. It just seems so weird that 2022 they just had a black wing. Why didn't they put Ferrari on it, which they now have? Yeah,
they could have done something with it. You're right. Yeah. Such as Williams have gone with Williams Racing, which we are looking back on board with. As he just does lead us away with green flag. We've got it's an AlphaTauri. That's Leo. Has spun out the final corner. That'll have
he's gonna be
scared
kicking
the life
himself.
out of Ghost Rider, I'm sure. But look at this further back. We're going to cut back. We've got Ghost Rider. There's Jackster. And here's Cav as well. Is he going to miss? Cav going to make a move. But Jackster on the inside of turn 1. And Ghost Rider's not giving up. Has to. What's Cav going to do? He's going to go on the outside of turn 3 round. Turn around. Ghost Rider just. There's a Gibbon's gone round as well.
He has his span on the exit.
Drama, high drama and spins, and there's Alpine as well. That's Case of Soze losing it. Look at this. This is Ghost Rider now on the inside of Tozer. Just gets the move. He's just about got the grip and finding his way back into 4th. Jackson, that little battle has cost him 2.3 seconds to the top 2 who are trying to streak away. Of course, they don't have penalties either at this point, but Ryan will get a deduction in places for being a tier 2 driver, don't forget. So this battle with Jackster, Night Shadow, Ghost Rider, Tobias, Barnstop is actually for the final podium positions, or the final 2 podium positions, should I say. And I think Neil's had another moment. He has at the bottom round Aqua Minerali.
Ghost Rider is unlikely to be on that podium because he's actually got 8 seconds of penalties, whereas everyone else around him has got 3.
Good point. I didn't see that. So is E17 as well. Unfortunately, Rotterdam was 6. Bob Smith was 6. Then Duck convertible TY clear. Ooh.
Night Shadow's going around the outside into turn 1.
Just about gets the car stopped as well. Oh, that was a little bit tight. And that is definitely full position, both on 3 seconds worth of penalties. Now, what can Gav do in the remaining 5 racing laps for after this? What can he do?
Well, there's a fair old gap to the front now. So they've, he's pulled out. There's a 5-second lead for Eddie Dust at the moment, pretty much.
Yep, but they're on well-worn medium tyres that they will be feeling it towards the end. Gav on 6 laps, and of course, a lot of that is behind the safety car. So those tyres will feel pretty fresh. So pretty much like 4 laps worth of wear in comparison.
They will, but Gavin has burned through his ERS. He's got nothing left.
Oh, he's been taking tips off Ryan.
Ryan's got more.
How? Ryan has got more.
No, Eddie Dust, or to be fair, this bunch up the front have all just gone, right, let's slay that ERS button.
Yeah, they have. They're really low. Actually, tell you what, rather than trying to look the onboard, let's look at the telemetry. 5%, 4%, and it's gone for Eddie Dust. Ryan, he's got double that, but still not great. 9, 10%, and Gav has got 5. So, but he has pulled away from Jackson. That gap, 1.5 seconds now. That gap, and so say after his little moment, the last lap. See why clear? I missed that when he pitted. Has done 5 laps on the soft tyres.
I missed that as well. I didn't notice that.
He's the only one. Going back to it, yeah, only one on the soft tyres. So that's going to be interesting to see what he can do. TY Case of Soze does need to pass him back though, because let's get rid of that because we don't need to see the telemetry of what the drivers are doing and what they're not doing in terms of gearage and also their ERS usage. But Gav has really pulled that gap down now. It was over 3 seconds, only 2.4, and Ryan has fallen off the back of Eddie Dust.
Yeah, the gap to Eddie Dust isn't changing much though. It's come down half a second in those 2 laps.
Yeah.
So, it's coming down a bit now. Actually, having said that, just now he's just taken a few in this sector. He is taking time out. I suspect that means that he's running more downforce than Eddie Dust is, because Eddie Dust is slow in sector 2.
Ah, interesting. But let's have a look now. They're down the main straight. All 3, the front 3, their lights flashing away. I'm not going to say what like. I'm sure Gav will probably come up with a better analogy, but we're not going to interrupt his... Well, yeah, he lost about 2-3 tenths, didn't he, Ryan, there down the main straight? But Night Shadow does... Gav seems to be using... has got less downforce, because he is really... I mean, within the space of a lap and a half, he's taken 2 seconds out of Ryan. And that's really key, looking at the penalty situation as well. Gav wants to do this on track. He's got another couple of laps. Oh, as Ryan's had a bit of... Is he trying to get heat in his tyres, Ryan?
Yeah, he did seem to be weaving then.
Yeah. I mean, I know he doesn't use traction, but neither does Night Shadow. So...
This gap is not coming down quick enough to get Gavin onto the top step at the moment.
It's not. It's still hovering about a second.
He's got 2 and a bit laps to go. Well, I'm looking at the Eddie Dust gap.
That's getting bigger.
Yeah, the Eddie Dust gap is 3.5 seconds. It's come down a second in the last lap and a half-ish.
But Gav is going to be well within the DRS as well this time round on Ryan. Neither of them have got any ERS, of course. There we go, the wing is finally open on the back of that Alfa Romeo. How quick is the Haas in a straight line? Both using Ferrari power. Not that it matters around here. But Gav's going for the outside line into turn one. Just give space. Just about. What a move that is around the outside. Ryan trying to fight him back. He's right under the rear wing. Has he got the straight line speed? As soon as Ryan pulls out, he hasn't got the pace. Hasn't got the straight line speed, but Gav goes very wide over the gravel, and that's allowed Ryan back through into Tosa, but Gav's going to try and defend on the inside. The guy just about leaves room. That both give each other fair racing room. Really good racing that between them, but Nigel does take it.
He does, but it's just cost him a second to the lead. This is now Eddie Dust's race to lose. And Eddie Dust is being very sensible and not using his ERS. He's recharged his battery. He's back up to 25% now. Yeah,
because he'll just see that gap opening up. He'll see Ryan and Gav battling away and that gap opening up and just thinks, okay, that's fine. Even if Gav gets past now with 4.7, Gav 7.7, technically for taking the 3-second penalty for Gav, you would, I'm not going to say it, so I'm going to move on. Because either, I'd really, he's new to the league, and the last thing I want to do is scupper any chance that he has this evening. So we'll move on.
Yes, but there is definitely a notable lack of penalties amongst certain people.
Yes.
So I'm just having a look at Eddie. Eddie looks like he's super comfortable. Actually, he's just like cruising around. He's deploying a bit now. He's using that ERS. Now he can see that no one's going to catch him up immediately.
Yeah, and the gap has actually increased even more. So we're looking now. Ghost Rider's decided to pit on the last lap. Maybe trying to do. He's retired from the session as Ghost Rider, unfortunately for him, in the pit lane. So I'm just looking at the penalties now. So Barnstop and Jackson, they were fighting for position because of penalties. But this is going to be critical. Looking at the penalty situation, as long as Gav doesn't get any more penalties, he's going to be okay for that second spot. Toby will finish on the podium, but I tell you what, he's caught up the top two, and Ryan is not letting the back of Gav go. He may get the 4 place demotion because he's a tier 2 driver, but he's still not letting go. Before we go to that, Eddie just crosses the line and takes his first victory in MRC with a fantastic, congratulations, brilliant race. Gav takes second. Toby will take third. Ryan gets it off, of course. Sorry, Ryan gets it from the penalties. Night Shadow in third. Toby in fourth. Jackson in fifth. Rotterdam in sixth. The top two, of course, on the grid, unfortunately, fifth and sixth. Rob in seventh. Doris having a heck of a moment over the line. Doris will take eighth. T.Y. Clear, long battling race for him. He does get some points, though, in ninth. Dak Convertible in 10th. E17, unfortunately, out the points in 11th. Gibbon will eventually cross the line. Oh, he has, sorry, apologies. He finishes in 12th. Geke in 13th. Kisoze in 14th. And Neil will then cross the line as he goes into Rivatsa to take the final finishing position of 15th spot. Ghost Rider, unfortunately, retired in the pits on the last lap. Boosie, Scratch Grisman, Dumas Hornet, all retired. Hugo Braun retired early on as well.
Kaiser Soze does manage to do his glory run on his soft tyres and does get the fastest lap. Not that it's worth anything.
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not.
So well, I mean, I reckon that was probably quite a hard race from a driving perspective, because those conditions were just constantly changing until it finally dried out at the end. But even that was fraught with confusion, wasn't it?
It was. To say the least, it was absolutely. It was, that was. They made the tyres last. We had Eddie Dust and Ryan on the used tyres, Night Shadow on the newer, fresher set of mediums. But yeah, you're right. Still made them last. Still made them work. And yeah, congratulations to Eddie Dust. Gets his maiden victory in MRC. I bet he's absolutely over the moon as well.
Yeah, that was all very well judged by him.
Yeah, it was fantastic racing. Ryan from 15th on the grid takes second, as we mentioned. Gavin third, but Toby in fourth from the back of the grid. Jaxa in fifth, Rotterdam in sixth, Rob Smith in seventh, Doris in eighth, Theo Clear in ninth, and Dak Convertible in 10th, E17 11th, Gibbon in 12th, Geke Matthew 13th, Cases Jose 14th, Neil in 15th, Ghost Rider in 16th, 17th was Boothie, Scratch Guzman 18th, 19th was Thomas Hornet, and Hugo Braun finishes in 20th.
Drive of the day? I'm just going to say Eddie Dust for me.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's just very well controlled. First win. Yeah, you know, he obviously had good pace. I mean, if you look at his dry times, he's quicker than everyone in that top 5, top 6. In fact, he's one of the quickest drivers on dry tyres. In fact, out of the top 10, he's the second quickest person in the top 10 on dry tyres. So he was fast, kept it on the track, didn't do anything silly, and didn't get a single penalty.
Exactly. Yeah, I can't disagree with you at all there. I have to agree. So Eddie Dust, fantastic race. Well done on your first victory. I'm sure he's going to be watching that one back this evening. Congratulations to him. Of course, the rest of the results are, well, all the results are preliminary until stewarding reports and outcomes are finalised later on this evening. All that's left to say is thank you all for watching. Thank you for taking part. Well done to all the drivers who finished this evening. We're back in a week's time for the finale of Tier 3. We are at the home of motor racing. We finish our season in Silverstone nonetheless, where there's still one or two championships left to be decided. So that's going to be very, very interesting. Of course, how can we leave it without saying a big thank you to Mr. Hills, the boss man, for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. That
seemed to go very quickly, didn't it?
It did, actually. Yeah.
Good fun.
You were saying before that it's quick to race, but sometimes the commentary can... There's certain races that do feel like the middle of the race, it simmers down. But this race didn't.
No, it definitely didn't. There was always something going on. It's definitely one which, if you've been driving in it tonight and you're just catching the end of the commentary, watch it back, because it's definitely an interesting race, isn't it? There's a lot happening.
Yeah, definitely. We were guessing what's going on. I was frantically going through the different menus, going, who's had that penalty, who's had that stop, who's on that tyre, and it was, and that's what you love about the changeable conditions. The uncertainty of what's going to happen next.
Quick note coming through from the admin chat. It looks like the Tier 4 race will start at 9 o'clock.
Oh yes, 9:15 already. Wow.
Yes. So it's delayed by 15 minutes because of the fact that obviously we've been delayed by 15 minutes.
Yes.
And maybe more. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That was a fantastic race. So we'll do it all again. Tier 4 will be starting in 15 minutes time, so don't miss out on that one. And then we're back in a week's time, Monday evening, to start with the Tier 2 and Tier 1 finales, then Tier 3 of course, and Tier 4 start from 7 o'clock hopefully on Wednesday. And of course we've still got Friday night entertainment for you. MRCX will be here at what's it called again? You found the name earlier.
Oh, do you want me to? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The fantastic name from 20. Did I say 2021? Wasn't it?
Was 21. That was
2021. We should have said this during the race.
I know. I forgot.
In 2021, this race was called the Formula One Pirelli Gran Premio del Made in Italy e dell'Emilia Romagna 2021.
And there we have it.
That's what you title.
Yeah. How can you make something really just snap off and roll off the tongue? That's it.
It's like half a dozen marketing people got into an agreement about what to call it, so they all called it the thing they wanted to call it at the same time.
Exactly that.
Anyway.
But yes, we'll be back in 15 minutes time for Tier 4 and then Friday evening for MRCX action once more. So thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you, Martin, again.
Thank you.
And we will see you all very, very soon. Good evening and good night, everybody.
Night night.